Hello, everyone. I am just logging on. If you're logging on with me, I try to be prompt. It is just 8 o'clock. I am just going to get, people are starting to come on now. I am just going to get our speaker up on the screen with us. Perfect. Julia?
Yes, hi.
Perfect. Hi, Julia. I can hear you. I can't see you.
There.
There we go. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, excited.
Oh, that's good. I like excitement on a Wednesday. I was about to say Thursday.
I
Wednesday.
know, yes, yep. It does feel like a Thursday.
It sure does. So we're just going to wait for a few more people to come on. I'm just going to chat a little bit.
Okay. Yep, yep, absolutely.
uh, I see some regulars on here. That's great. Everyone just let us know where you're from. Or Julie, I don't know if you have any questions you want to ask them so you can get to know them a little bit. I'm going to be sharing this on our Facebook group page right now so I can get the ball rolling with that. But don't be shy, everyone who's on. Just drop a line, let us know where you're from. And I'm going to start sharing. Hopefully it will let me. I was having issues the last 2 times I did this, but my backup is this webinar is being recorded, and I will share the recording to everyone on my email list. It will be on our YouTube page, and I'll share it on the private Facebook group too. So
That's awesome. You've got everything covered.
I look like I do.
No, thank you for this great work. I applaud you. It's fascinating, and you're so consistent with it. You do great things for us.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's always good to hear. When people ask me, why do I do all this? It's usually because, when you hear thank you from that one person, it means so much. So
Yeah.
I do try my best, and see if I can get this shared now. Let's see.
This is awesome. So we have Mississauga, St. Catharines.
Oh, I like it. I know we usually have someone from Manitoulin, and I'm always so fascinated by that. Let's see. It looks like it might actually work for the go live. Okay, I'm just typing in your credentials, so make sure I type everything properly.
The last name, right?
Yes, most importantly. That is usually what gets me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hope everyone's week has been well, like, especially with this weather. Oh my goodness. I don't know if it is spring or winter, because today it feels like spring.
Honestly, yeah. I just came back from 5 weeks in Africa. And yes,
Where in Africa?
in Kenya.
Oh my gosh.
So that's where I'm originally from. And it was just 5 weeks of the heat, the sun, and I'm so sorry, but yeah, so this is brutal. Looking outside and you're like, how is this 6 a.m.? It's so dark, you know?
Insane. Oh, I'm so jealous right now. I don't even know what to do.
And I dated someone from Tanzania originally, Jambo.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, wow. That's cool. I'm from Jamaica originally, so this weather is just not up my alley. It's not.
It brings on new dimensions, doesn't it? Like, especially like as business people, you wouldn't think that it plays such a big part, but for me, it does.
It's massive. It's purely depressing for me because for people who don't know this, I do also have a 9 to 5. I manage a lab, and I literally told my boss, because I sat in the bed and I was terrified to leave my house. And I'm like, I wasn't even going to lie to you. I wasn't going to call in sick or anything. I was going to call in afraid.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid to leave my house. So, hats off to everyone who's been through this and worse, because it was cold. Like, it was wrong.
It was cold. It was cold.
Very, and they said to expect more of that, and
I
I don't
see
want to
that.
imagine it.
I see that. And I have a dog who doesn't care. He still wants to go out. He still wants to play out. So in the morning, it's like you just bundle in and it wakes you up. That's for sure.
You can't have pets if that's what it requires, because
That's what it does. The plus is that there's no better way to be woken up than by the time you come back in, you're like, okay, let's go.
no,
The
there's no
sleep is
plus.
knocked out of you.
Can't see it. So we are sharing right now. I'm just going to make sure I open it on my phone so I can watch if there are any comments or questions at the same time. And what I'm going to do is probably, oh, here it is. Wait, scroll down a little bit more. There. I can see us on both the screens now.
Excellent.
Just spectacular. I will just probably chat a little bit about Canadian small businesswoman and interject here and there. It's just a free for all, everyone. Please feel free if you have any questions or comments, type it in the chat box. We do have a question box. Julia, you will see exactly what I see.
Okay.
So you will see the chat box. You will see the question box, Q&A box pop up if anyone asks questions from there. I will field any questions from social media. And yeah, so hi everyone and thanks for coming. Again, it's Wednesday. And we do have we try to do webinars twice a month. So this is the first one for January because we tried to ease into it a little bit. So Julia's kicking us off this year. Next week, we're talking about taxes. So be prepared. Shalini's coming locked and loaded. So be ready for that. And we have quite a bit coming up this year. So let me just give a little rundown. So our first event, I actually have a flyer here. Our first event is going to be in February in Markham, and this is the first one of our 3 small business seminars. And this one is the smallest of the 3 in terms of vendors. We'll only have about 10 vendors. We'll have about 100 people. And we're giving away a free ticket to see Michelle Obama live at that show. Hi, Kamisha. Oh, one of my good friends from high school. Her name is Kamisha, and she's a fellow Jamaican. So we're giving away a ticket to see Michelle Obama live. We have a few tickets we're giving away throughout the next few months, and we're doing a private dinner with our group, and then we're going to the show together. So all our guests do get excited, get excited for this one. And we'll have 2 speakers. We'll have Sharon, who will be talking about branding, and we'll have BDC. So the theme of this is all about selling online. So both BDC and Sharon will be talking about how to do that and how to do it well. We then have our other show in Niagara. It's another small business seminar, and that's in May. And that one is going to really bring together a few of the government agencies so that they can tell us a little bit more about what the government can do to help you in your business. Then we have one in August in Mississauga. That one's like the big fun one for me because I feel like that's the homecoming show because we've been through 1 year of having all our shows in Mississauga. So it's kind of nice every year to come back and do it here. So you'll hear more about that. And we have lots of affiliate offers. We have emails going out this week about a few offers that some of our partners are offering to everyone. So that's always good. We're trying to build new partnerships. And yeah, so we're looking forward to an even better year than we had last year. And anything that we can do to help you, please let us know. We're always looking for ways to help you build your business or start your business. And the webinars like these is actually one great way to do it. So I've rambled enough. I am going to hand over the screen as I try to open up this again because I did not press play, and I'm gonna have my sound. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I have people on here who are actually speaking already. Amanda, she had a dog. Her dog just passed away, Bo, and she said she was out 3 times a day, no matter the weather. Jeez. Yeah, Amanda, I couldn't do it. And she also said, oh, yes, the seminar date is her birthday. So she's actually going to be at the seminar. She's one of our vendors. So she said, come and celebrate with her. So there we go. Yay. Oh, let's not drop that. All right. So I am going to share my screen with your presentation, and we're going to get started. So I am going to, okay, first I should probably run the presentation. It is right here. And it is all yours. I'm just going to, there we go. Sorry about that, ladies and gents. I act like it's my first time. Okay, so you can see the screen. I just need to present and we are good. There we go. It is all you. I will be listening and telling, if I don't advance quickly enough, you just tell me to advance and I'll be good to go.
Okay, sounds good to me. So I'll let you know when to move over to the next slide.
Yes.
This is very exciting for me. I'm really excited to be here today. We're talking about profitable plans. And, let's be honest, not everyone out here is a planner. Not everyone here likes to sit down with a calendar, and books and map out their whole life. And there's some people who just love to experience life and sort of like just take the opportunities as they come. So no matter who you are, whether you're a planner or you're not a planner, well, I'm here to tell you I understand both views. I never used to plan. My background is in planning, but I never used to plan for a lot of my life events. I sort of used to just walk into the moment and deal with it until I discovered that I wasn't progressing and I wasn't ending up anywhere that I wanted to be honest. So planning came back into my life, and now I make it a really vital part of what I do with people. It's the beginning of the year. This is a really great time to be doing this. I know it's the end of January, but you've had some time to come into 2019 and think about what it is that you want to see for yourself more of and less of. And so we're going to have some fun here. I'm going to show you the key, what you need so that you can have a profitable plan that's both successful and sustainable. I want you to keep with this plan to the end of the year. So if you can move over to the next slide, I will share with you this. Only 8% of people who set their New Year's goals achieve them. And this is a study that was done, and the results are just mind-blowing. Now we know this. How many times have we said at the start of the year, I'm going to start my fitness goals, or I'm going to start the business, or I'm going to start making money in the business, or I'll start being kinder to people, whatever the case may be. The new year is the time when people set up their goals and only 8% of them achieve them. Well, I'm here to share with you what is needed so that you can be part of the 8%. Because I know what it feels like when you're looking at a mountain that you want to climb and you're wondering how to get there and you feel like a failure because things are not working out for you. So if you definitely want to start your side hustle this year, or you want to make it profitable, like enough of that expensive hobby, then you're in the right place, because I'm going to show you that what to focus on, but I'm also going to give you some inside information to help you understand why you haven't up until now achieved some of the goals that you wanted to set up for yourself. So we can go over to the next. And the next. I want to tell you a little bit about myself, just so that you can get some context here. So I started out, I had a couple of business ventures over the last 20 years, but about, less than 10 years ago, I left a very comfortable federal government job in Canada. And I took my 21 years of marketing experience and I said, you know what, let's take this to the people who it actually matters. And I took it to the small business people, such as yourselves. And, I tried all my marketing strategies and techniques and nothing was working. I had coffee dates, I posted on social media, I ran webinars and workshops. I did everything that I could imagine, but nothing was generating any money for me. It was very troubling. And it was also frustrating. And I was getting into a panic mode because I had obligations. I had mortgages, I had obligations, and I had left a really comfortable job. Plus, when I left my job, we had all my family and friends looking at me wondering, Julie, are you crazy? Are you crazy? So I defaulted into my regular state, which is the learner state. I'm a learner. So we have different personality types. Some people are fixers, others are learners. So depending on what type of personality you are, you would default into it whenever you come up against the brick wall. I am a learner, so I turned to books and webinars and white papers, anything I could find that could help me get my marketing on board. And so I tried every marketing tactic out there that I read about or watched, and still nothing was happening. I was spending a lot of time and a lot of money not getting results. And a lot of people who are listening to me right now know what this feels like. One day, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on my laptop looking at yet more information on the new marketing strategy, and I just felt tired. I just felt full. When you have those moments when you've just had enough, and there's really nothing that you can absorb that's going to make you any better than you were 10 seconds ago. I was there, and I pushed back the chair, and I remember thinking, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm finished. And then out of the blue, a voice popped into my head, and it said, Julia, are you willing to listen to another opinion? And I'm like, yes, of course I'm willing to listen to another opinion. I'm a forever optimist. You can get to that dead end, you can get to the end of the road, and you just get that one little flicker of light, and that's enough for you to grab it and run and run with it. That's the type of person I am. And I believe most entrepreneurs are too. They just need that one little window, that one little sense of direction, and they're off. And I'm like, yes, I'm willing to listen to another opinion. And so this voice asks me, well, why did you get into this business? I'm like, why did I get into this business? I got into this business because of Jane. So Jane is the name of my client avatar. That is my ideal client, the person that I look for and work with. She is this amazing, ambitious woman. And I also have male clients. And yes, I do call them Jane. That's my client avatar. And so Jane is this ambitious person who wants to use the business as the door to the life that they dream of. So that may mean more quality time with family and friends, an opportunity to give them better experiences, having to pay for things without wondering how much is in the bank account, can I afford this, what's this gonna cost me, just as an outlet for the full expression of all the experiences, their talents, whatever it is. And Jane has amazing products and services. The problem is Jane doesn't know how to get him or herself out there, doesn't know how to put him or herself out there, doesn't know what to say, doesn't know where to find their clients, none of that. And so for that reason, their businesses don't take off, or they don't make enough money, and they end up going back to a day job that they don't really care about. And it's because they're just missing some fundamental marketing skills and sales skills and information. And for that reason, they've left. I worked for Canada Revenue Agency for 7 years, and I worked with hundreds of small businesses day in and day out. So I got that amazing insight into why hundreds of businesses failed and why hundreds of businesses did not fail. And so why I started my business was so that I could bring these fundamentals to Jane, so that Jane would not give up on the dream and think that there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong. You just need some information. So what I've discovered is that if you don't know who your ideal client is, your marketing plan will fail. Now, the moment I discovered this, when I answered my own question, everything changed for me. I realized that I hadn't been focusing on Jane with my marketing strategies. Honestly, I had forgotten my why, and I was now chasing the money, which meant that I was trying anything that would work. But nothing was sticking, because while money is important, it's not that high on Jane's value list. And if I focused on Jane, I would know that. And everything changed for me. My clients started flooding in, and I started getting better results from them because I was better able to help them target their clients and their clients only. Now, all this has to happen within a plan. And so I'm very excited to work with you today to show you some of the key things to focus on so that you yourself can have a profitable and sustainable plan.
I'm going ahead. I promise I am. I should
Yes.
have probably gone ahead with these lovely photos.
Okay. So are we able to go to 5?
Yes.
So those lovely photos that you see were part of the story that I was giving you. So in my different states.
And
but
happy
what's
state.
most important is that you see. Now, the first thing we have to do is understand the problem. Why is it that only 8% of people achieve their goals? And this is very key before I give you the plan, before I give you the steps to the plan for you to understand this. And we're going to look at 3 of the top reasons, and that's on the next slide. 3 of the top reasons that most people don't achieve their plans. You could fall into one of them, maybe 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. The first is a lack of understanding. Second is lack of a clear plan. And the third one has to do with a lack of self-trust or self-belief. Now, when I say lack of understanding, what I'm talking about is this. Most people don't actually consider that each action is what's going to make up the sum of their life. So they do things with isolated steps. For example, you may think, oh, I should go for this networking event, and then you change your mind. And to you, that's just a single event. But what will happen in about 2-3 months when you look at your bank account and realize that the money's not coming in? Well, this is the reason why. Those one-offs in which you did not fully apply yourself, or you did not fully show up, they end up cumulatively ending up in your results, which is your bank account, which could be a lack of clients or a lack of enough income, or you don't have enough people to talk to so that you can generate your sales. So inconsistency. And the cure to this is to remember that everything that you do is what makes up your life. So at this moment, if there's parts of your life that you're not happy with, well, look at the things that you do on an individual basis, and they will tell you why you're getting the results that you're getting. So you start with the individual choices, and each time ask yourself, well, is this choice getting me closer to my dream or not? And even if you're just not in the mood and it's a really hard day, and I get it, you always want to do at least one small thing in the direction of your dreams, one small thing, and that usually creates flow. We're going to go into the actual plan. So lack of a clear plan is obviously when you have this idea, you'll say, this year I'm making $120,000 or $50,000. Well, how are you making it? I'm selling to 10 clients. How are you getting your 10 clients? I'm going out and speaking to people. Which people? Where exactly are you going? What are you going to say? And then that's where the plan falls apart. And we're going to go into that and a little bit into the lack of self-trust, because that is important. I do a lot of mindset work as well, because it is important. We are human and we are living, a very physical life, but we are spiritual beings. So we can't avoid that. So let's go over to the next slide and jump into the actual ingredients that are needed to create a successful and sustainable plan. And there's 6 of them. So this is where you're going to need your paper and pen.
I already have mine.
Excellent.
I'm ready to learn.
Now, before we start off with what you're going to be doing on a daily basis or a monthly basis or for the year, we need to first figure out where you're going. So what is a vision? A vision is like a GPS setting. It's like when you get into the car and you put in the address and you say, this is where we're going. And then a map shows up. So we first need to do that. And this is what I do with all my clients. You first need to tackle your personal vision and then your business vision. And this is why. You don't want to start on your business vision, be successful, and then look at your life and think, oh my goodness, what is this? I'm miserable. I didn't want to be here. I got myself into the wrong place. You want to make sure that you start with your personal life. Figure out what you want to see in your personal life, and then you're going to fit your business into that plan so that you have something holistic and it's sustainable. A lot of people start out and they create businesses that end up looking like the jobs they left, the jobs they hate, and that's what we're trying to avoid here. So how do you write out your personal vision? Well, I'll tell you, it sounds very grimy, but you're going to write a eulogy. That's how you write out your personal vision. You're going to write down on a blank piece of paper your life as it were from beginning to end, and you're going to make it rich with details. You're going to include how you lived your life, how you spent your days, what you owned. So, just get really deep, and this is where you're going to use your imagination. And I want you to suspend belief. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what your current situation is, your current circumstances. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. I want you to allow yourself to dream. So write down, I lived in this big house by the beach or the ranch or by a mountain, whatever the case may be. But write out really the kind of life that you want to live. How many days were you working? How did you spend your alone time? How did you spend time? Did you have a family? How big was the family? Did you always have family over or not? What kind of a person were you? Did you have foundations? Did you create foundations? Are you charitable? You want to include all those details in your vision. And I'll tell you the reason why we do this is because your vision is going to tell you who you must become to achieve all that. And it really will. So it's going to tell you that, okay, so I see here you said that you own a company and that you have 12 employees. Well, we need to make sure we have a sustainable business that's going to be able to carry the responsibility of paying people consistently as promised so that you can have your 12 great employees. So if you have the choice between sitting down and working on your business or watching Netflix, what are you going to have to choose? You're going to have to sit down and work on your business. So your vision is going to show you what you need to do so that you can achieve your overall goal. And you will find over time that you're adjusting your mind and your thoughts and your actions to be in alignment. I wrote my personal vision in 2012, and this was years after I'd started some businesses. And that's when everything changed for me, because I suddenly could see the future that I wanted, and I knew that it would be very possible if I simply lived up to it and if I did the steps. And the reason why it is sustainable for me is because I just simply wrote down exactly what I wanted to see. And this is where you need to not allow thoughts to come in like, oh, what would my spouse say, or my parents, what would my friends think if I say I want to go live out in the woods? Forget all that. This is about you and what really fits you. It's got to fit like a glove. And then your business vision is going to come next. And this is where we're going to choose your focus and what you're going to be working on over the next 5 years, but especially this year. And right now we're going to go into the 6 things that you must take care of so that you can have a profitable year that's both successful and sustainable. So the first 3 things. The first one is a specific market. And what I have here are a couple of examples. Now, this is what I mean by specific market. So I, as a business coach, and especially for startups, I deal with a lot of people who will come to me and they will say, especially coaches, and they will say, I want to help everyone who's in pain. And I get it. I know. That's why you went into business. You want to help people. But the thing is, there's nobody like everybody. You're never going to make any money going to help everybody. You've got to be really, really specific. The example I have here that I created for us is this: busy professionals who want to eat fresh home-cooked meals at their convenience and while still at their desks. You see how specific that is? Like when you read this, it's giving you the visual of the type of person and what they're doing. And this tells you enough that if you are in the food delivery business, you'll know whether this fits you or not. You've got to have a very clear need. It's got to be really clear here. Now, what these people want, in my example, is they want to eat fresh, home-cooked meals. That means they want a healthy approach to eating. And because they're busy professionals, they don't want to do any shopping, any preparation. So again, this is eliminating a lot of the different choices that are out there. For example, let's say takeout from fast food restaurants, or the food delivery services where they deliver the fresh ingredients and you cook. All of that is getting eliminated by that clear need. And this is so good because it shows you exactly where you can go in. And again, this specific market wants the food right now because it's a right now nation, and they want it at their convenience, which means that if they're at their desk working until midnight, they need to know that they can get what they need. Now, what is your clear solution? Your solution must be in direct proportion to the need. So, in this specific example, if we had a company that said, listen, go over to this app or go over to our website. Every day we have 3 fresh choices for you. Just click any one of them, and within 15 minutes, doesn't matter the time, you have fresh food delivered to your office within 15 minutes. Anywhere and then, within a geographical location. This is perfect for that busy professional who wants to just quickly go choose a meal and then go back to the project. By the time they look up, the meal is delivered. So when you're thinking about your products and services, you've got to really, really go deep and figure out who's my specific market, what is the clear need I'm addressing, and what is that solution that is just in complete alignment with the need. For many of you who are struggling, I'll give you a hint. I want you to think about yourself before you solve your problem. So for many of you, you're selling the solutions that you wish you had when you started out. Maybe it's a health thing, or maybe whatever it may be. I want you to think about that person then, and then write that description out. And then think about what that specific need was for you, and then figure out the solution that fits into that need. So we'll go over to the next 3. You know, a lot of people don't like to talk about money, even though it's the business world, and even though business is all about generating money. It's a business because it's something that you do intentionally, creating a channel for money to flow in. Because a lot of people don't look at their money. So this is just a small exercise that I want you to do. I'd like you to, and you wouldn't have time to do this now, but this is something I definitely want you to do, because it's important that we do this before we keep going throughout the year with the same issues. I want you to take a blank piece of paper, and you're going to put a line straight in the middle. And on the left side, you're going to write dad or male. And on the right side, you'll write mom or female. Now, what you're going to do is this. You're going to think about growing up. You're going to think about all the things that was said or done around money from the female guardian, or the strongest female influence in your younger life. So that would be mom for many of you. It could be your grandmother, it could be an aunt, whatever that may be. And you want to write down all the things they said, all the things they did, how they handled money. And all of this was while you were growing up. So, you know, you're about 7 years old. Like, what did you internalize, and how did you internalize it? And then you're going to do the same exercise with your father or grandfather or uncle or brother, whoever the male role model was for you growing up, the person who influenced you the most. You're going to think about how they handled money, what they said about money, what they did with money. And this is going to help you see what belief systems you took as a child that you've carried into your future today. And this is what you'll find. Sorry, what did you say there?
That's a cool exercise.
It is so powerful. It is really powerful. I'll tell you that most of us walk into our day-to-day lives repeating mistakes our parents made, or making mistakes and have no idea why we do that. You know, so a lot of people will spend when they're feeling upset and have no idea why, and they'll just blame themselves and feel bad and then shop some more.
Well, I'm pretty conscious about what I took from my family, because my mother always tells us it's not what you make, it's what you do with it. Always says that, even to this day. But she also is one who wants you to enjoy what you've earned. So you have to find that perfect balance, you know?
Wow, see that? That's what you took. That is so great. I'll tell you, a lot of people were not handed good things. You know, in the sense that a lot of people saw that one parent would spend money and then hide what they bought from the spouse. So there's a lot of secrecy and shame that they took from that. Others constantly heard money doesn't grow on trees, you know, just you know, you felt bad spending, which is why a lot of people will spend on their family and friends. But when you tell them you need to spend on your business, you need to spend on your own coaching, for them it's no, that's a luxury. Are you kidding me? I'd rather buy socks for my nephew because of what they took growing up. So you'll find that
if you spend on yourself, you can buy your nephew lots of socks.
Exactly. But for them, it's not thinking about it as spending on me as an investment. It's not. No. And that also goes to the second exercise, which is how we feel about money and how we feel about ourselves is usually closely tied together. I mean, these are those topics that we just don't talk about growing up or ever sometimes, and they influence our lives so much that when it comes to starting a business and then it's time to go out and sell, The things that come up are, well, who's going to buy from me? Who am I to charge this? Who do I think I am? Those issues come up. So this exercise is really important so that you can look, and then you can do an analysis for yourself and ask, do I still need to keep this thought? No, ditch it. Is this helpful? Yes, keep it. What new things do I need to work on? And you can do the same exercise for yourself with self-worth. Again, look at everything that was said to you about you, or not said about you growing up, from the female person who was your influence. So what did they say about you? What names did they use for you? How did they refer to you? And then do the same thing on the male side. And it will tell you a lot about the perception that you picked up about yourself growing up. And for a lot of people, they need to remedy this. They need to, with now their adult self, say, okay, well, this is not a true reflection of who I am. I am worth it. And I can ditch all these thoughts and beliefs that I carried into my future, because they will impact your business. So when we say money in, money out, this is when we sit down, we look and say, okay, who's going to buy what it is that you're selling? How much are they going to buy it for? What's it going to cost you to produce? And how many can you sell? And how many do you need to sell so that you break even? And, you know, when we talk about revenue goals, people tell me what they want to earn for the year every time we start out, especially with my VIP clients. And it's always the amount that they figure is going to be enough for them. But I want to tell you this. You want to take all your 2018 personal expenses, meaning everything you paid out in 2018, you want to add that up. And then you're going to add up everything that you paid out in 2018 for your business. So this is everything you paid for networking events. If you have like a subscription like Zoom, whatever the case may be, you want to take those two figures, you want to add them up, and that is your revenue goal. That's the amount of money to make. Not whatever it is that you come up with or sounds good to your ear. You want to look at that. And we're using 2018 because it's factual. It's a done deal. A lot of times when we say create a budget, we overestimate or we underestimate. We bring in a lot of our emotions and sensibilities and how we feel, so it's never accurate. Like you're going to put down that you're only going to spend $300 on groceries, and then at the end of the month, it's $800. It's always been $800. You're just in denial about how much you spend on what you eat.
Yep.
And it happens all the time. So instead, you're just going to go and you're going to pull up your credit cards, your PayPal, your checking accounts, and you're going to just, without judgment, just with a calculator, you're just going to go and everything that you spent out for every little thing, even if it was buying socks for your nephew, you want to put that in there. Because again, those are the small things we don't budget for, like gifts. And then at the end of the year, we wonder why we're not balancing. So you want to add your personal and your business expenses, and that's going to give you your revenue goal. Now, when you look at your revenue goal, the question is, if this is assuming you know your prices for your products and services, well, how many of your products and services do you need to sell? How many of them do you need to sell? So you do that math. You divide your revenue goal with your products and services, and that will tell you how many units you need to sell for 2019. Now, some of you will definitely hit and exceed this goal. Most of you will not. And this is because you're going into new territory and you're going to be doing things a little bit differently. So you also have to be really gentle with yourself. And this is not an excuse to say that you get away with not doing anything. But if you find that you need to sell 30 of your products and services to hit your goal, well, what this tells you is how many you need to sell within the month. So you just plan out your monthly activities so that you make sure that if you need to sell, 2 or 3 units a month, that your marketing strategy is geared toward that. And this is how we just really simplify things. And you want to make sure that you're spending as little as possible and that you can quickly and massively produce what it is that you give. So for example, if you are a service-based business, you want to stop charging people by the hour and you want to start looking at putting things into packages. And you want to start creating a repeatable process so that you can take pretty much everybody from step 1 to the end without recreating the wheel with each new person that you get. This is going to really save you time, save you energy, and help you get the brand that you're looking for. And branding is what people say about you. And so you want them to be consistent in the feedback that they give others about you. For market share, you want to look at who's already playing in your space. So take a look at 5 people that you look up to who are playing the game at a much larger stage, and then 5 people locally who are at your level. And look at them and objectively, without judgment, write down a list of all the things they're doing right, all the things you actually love about them. I have a lot of people who will just speak negatively about other businesses, and to be honest with you, they'll never be successful. Because you need to have a spirit of sharing and a spirit of abundance and a spirit of awareness that there's more than enough people in this world who can be serviced. And that just because you don't like the way someone does something, it doesn't give you the right to look down on them. They have their own system. They're doing their own thing. You keep your eye on your ball and attract the people who are right for you. And so with this exercise, you're going to look for what you like about what you see, what you admire, what you wish you could do like them. And then you're also going to look at what they're not doing, what they're not doing right. And you look at this list and see where you fit in, because there's always a gap. There's always a place for you to fit in, so that you're not necessarily competing against people, but you're offering something that they're not, which is awesome. Then you're not fighting for people to come to you, right? It's just you have a very clear gap. And then looking at that gap, then decide how you're going to reach out to them. Positioning is very important. It's really, what's your message? And this is how you explain what makes you different. And it really helps with how people see you and what they say about you to others. So when we're thinking about this, you're going to get a lot of your information once you identify the gap, because that's what's going to show you what's different about you. And you can really concentrate on that in your marketing efforts and when you're speaking with people. And also, when you know what you're selling and how much you're selling it for, it gives you a focus, so that you're not going to just go to any random networking event or just try any marketing strategy. You're going to look at what you need to sell for the year, because your revenue goal has told you what you need to hit so that we break even. And you're going to look at the number of units you need to sell, and then ask yourself, well, where do I know that I can get these? Where do I know that I can get this? And then focus your energy on that. So, I mean, we don't have the capacity to go in depth on these issues, but these are the things that if you focus on, you're going to find that you're going to get a lot more results, definitely a profitable year than not. And it is quite a lot, but I will show you at the end how I support you with this, so that, we can work through some of this information. In the meantime, I hope you are writing it down, all the things that come to you. If we head over to the next slide, I'd like to share with you a story about Himanshu. So this is someone who came over to me at that time. He had the life coaching business, and he helped everybody. And, we've had that discussion before. Now, he's been doing businesses for a long time. So he thought he pretty much nailed that specific target market, which was the first element that I gave you before. But after working with me for a while, what Himanshu discovered is that he was not specific at all. So he was a life coach. But in doing some deep work, we discovered that actually what he wanted to do was to heal arthritis by healing emotional pain. So there were cases of arthritis that were brought on by people who had baggage that they needed to let go of. And that was his specialty. That was his thing. But before working with me, that did not even come to light. So he was just a generic life coach out there for the whole world. And again, you can see that it did not bring him probably the people he wanted to help the most. So with being very targeted and going for a specific group of people, he was better able to connect with the people he actually wanted to work with. And that's what you want, more of the clients that you love, right? For the next example, I have Devonia, again, someone who's been in business for a long time. So a lot of people think that you go to business coaches and that you get help from professionals when you're just starting out. That's no. It would be the same way if you drive a car. If you have a car, you take it for oil changes and you take it for maintenance. You don't just do that because the car is old or older. You do that so that you can maintain the longevity, so that it doesn't cost you too much in the long run. And so with Devonia, she's been in real estate and home designing for a very long time. We're talking decades. But as with other human beings who grow over time, she discovered that she wanted to tap into a different type of market and was having a difficult time doing so. And in this case, the reason why I love this example is because a lot of people, for example, I have a client right now. She's been 30 years as a clinical psychologist, but now wants to start a coaching business. And it's hard because you're now going into a completely different avenue and you sort of have to start from the beginning. And if you've been very comfortable doing what you're doing, then you get lost in trying to figure out how to start again. You sort of forget those fundamentals that you started out with. And that was this case. So this is just important for any of you out there who may be, and I'm not saying you necessarily have to come to me, but if you're looking for help, don't sit on it and try and fix it yourself. You have an amazing community of people. You have information like this that you can actually take advantage of and say, okay, I'm going to get help and I'll get help in this specific area. And I'm speaking my words in the sense that I have several coaches right now for different areas that I'm interested in. And I always do based on the levels that I hit as I grow. So moving on to the next slide, I want to touch on the self-belief aspect. So remember, I gave you 3 reasons that most people do not hit their goals that they came up with on New Year's or whenever they came up with. And you know, the biggest one I'll say is a lack of self-trust and self-belief. You know, these stats are always depressing, you know, that only 50% of businesses survive through their 5th year, or that only, or 20% of new companies fail in their 1st year. And that's why, you know, even while I work with established business people, my focus is on the first 5 years people. My focus is on them because they have the greatest likelihood of quitting. They have the greatest likelihood of giving up. And, you know, it's just a lack of information. Think about your school system. Think about the society that you're brought up in. We're brought up to believe that you go on a path and that you must succeed. Like, I don't know about the school system now, but growing up, and I grew up in Kenya, East Africa, and then did my university in Canada. Well, growing up, it was always, you just had to succeed. You know, failure was just not an option. And it was in school, it was at home. During exams and the national exams, the whole family had to know what you got for your grades. I mean, the whole extended family. So there was a lot of shame with grades. And if you never were at the top, you know, if you never quite made it, and nobody cared about the reasons why you never quite made it. There's only 1 year when I got a pass for failing, or rather I was given permission to fail. And that was when I was 15 and my father passed away. And I was told, you know, it's okay if you don't do good in school this year. Okay, thanks. And it was well-meaning, I guess. But, you know, it's like you're just expected to pass. And then you go to school and it trains you to go to jobs. Now in jobs, you have definite work descriptions. You have your duties, you have your hours, you have your pay, you know exactly what you're doing. But even then, it's always about the next level. I mean, how many times have you been in family gatherings where they ask you, what do you do? Oh, so what's next? Or are you going for that promotion? Or, you know, there's always that expectancy of climbing up the ladder, of doing something. You can't simply say, I'm a janitor and I love it. It's stress-free. I have my payments. I have my benefits. I come home and I'm okay. You're still going to be pulled aside and told, you know, janitor's great, but what if you could be the CEO of the company? Or there's always that idea. So when you say you're starting a business, I mean, come on, this is hard. This is like anything new that you embark on: marriage, relationships, children, whatever the case may be, moving to a different country, starting a new job. And on the next slide, we're going to look at some of the things that I found very interesting in my research. There were like 3, 4, 5. There were 7 key reasons why entrepreneurs fail, like those statistics I gave you before in the first year and the first 5 years. And you know what's interesting to me is that most of this, 90% of this information has to do with ourselves. It has nothing to do with the outside world. It has nothing to do with lack of capital, which is a lot of what people say. I don't have the money, or I don't have the time. No, it actually, according to a Harvard Business School study and lots of other studies that were conducted, it boils down to lack of focus, lack of motivation, commitment and passion, too much pride, resulting in an unwillingness to see or listen, lacking good mentorship, and lack of business knowledge. Isn't that interesting? That these are the reasons why people fail. So it's not that you don't have time, it's that you don't manage your time well. That you're not making maybe the business activities, the revenue generating activities a priority for you. It's not that you don't have time to go to the gym. It's not that you don't have time to meet new people. It's just not a priority. It's not your focus. And that's what it is. It's not that you don't have enough money, because there's a lot that you can do with what you have right now. And truthfully, we're all sitting on more money than we think. If you look around your house, I bet you have 10 items right now that you can pull out that you've never used in the last 10 years, 5 years, that you could sell tonight and generate money. And this is true because we love to keep our things. Like, oh, but I got this for my wedding. You've never used it, ever. It's in the box. It's in the box.
You're speaking the truth. Oh my.
So it's never what we think. And why this is good news for me is because it's fixable. We just have to want it to be fixable. So if we go over to the next screen, when you have that lack of planning and that lack of self-belief and all these things happening, most entrepreneurs will admit to feeling burnt out. 25%, according to a recent study that was done, they feel moderately burnt out. And I know what that feels like. I know I felt like I was spinning my wheels. At the very beginning, when I told you my story about just trying every marketing strategy out there, I was running on gas. I was just so burnt out. But then you're driven to succeed and you got to make this work, and you're pushing, using push energy. Mercifully, I did not completely burn out and lose that love for what I do, which is what happens to a lot of people. And it's so sad because you speak with people who could have done great things, but they didn't last. They burnt out. They just said it's too much. It was too much work going out and looking for work and hearing rejections after rejections and knocking on doors and speaking to nobody. But here again is some good news. You just need a plan with clear timelines of the right actions, honestly. And then where you're not strong, go get help. So, for someone who had tried all these entrepreneurial ventures over a long while, none of them succeeded. And instead of actually having that analytical look at what I was doing and asking myself, well, what's the problem here? Why are we not doing well? Instead, I would look at it as, oh, I'm just a failure. Of course, I'm not going to succeed. Who do I think I am? And this was all stuff that was just following me from my childhood. So it was until I did the deep work. So I got help. I got help with someone to help me with a mindset and then the money piece, because I wasn't going to figure it out by myself. That was going to take too long. I had other things to do. I was going to hire a professional who, that's your job. That's your specialty. I'll do whatever it takes, no matter how uncomfortable it makes me. And that helped me get through that very quickly. When I wanted to get help with coming up with a proper financial plan, I didn't do that by myself. I was like, who are you kidding? You're going to write down $300 for groceries, and then, next month you'll be like, oh, how did the other 500 get used? Forget it. Let's go talk to someone who actually knows what they're doing. And this is their thing. And they're the ones who help me add up, socks for the nephew, the small things that you buy that you don't think about, that gum that you like picking up every single time you go pay for your gas or you walk into the supermarket. Yeah, that's money out. You need to add that in and give yourself some room so that you can freely spend that and know that it's within my budget, right? And then we need to create a routine. So a lot of people think that the entrepreneurial life is great because you wake up whatever time you want to, go to bed whatever time you want to. Oh, shock on you. Nope.
I tell people it's harder than a 9-to-5. It definitely.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness.
Everything.
Oh, it is. And there is no off button. So as much as you'd like to think that you could zen out when you put the laptop down and go to bed, your mind will be working. And when you wake up, somehow it's still working on your behalf. When you're with your family and your friends, it's still working. But there are things you can do to help yourself out. And a routine helps. So I have digital calendars. I also have like the wall, like the desktop calendars and the wall calendars. I also have a journal. It's a daily journal. It's an amazing journal called Self Journal. It's amazing because it's for business people and it's for people who have lots that they want to do. So it helps keep you accountable, but it keeps you in the grateful zone, and it also allows you introspection. So I like that it's all in there. And I have a different book there. So basically all these things, while at the very beginning, the idea of them was like, oh, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to be tied up to schedules. Well, that's how I get my freedom. It's in creating routine that I have my freedom. So I know when I can sit down and really focus, and I know when I have permission to play. So I was 5 weeks, just in the month of December, 5 weeks, I was in Kenya, East Africa. And what I did is I made the first part of that a working vacation, and then at the end as well. And that's something I had always wanted, was to be able to work from anywhere. And so I was able to do that. But that was because there was a plan. I mean, 5 weeks is a long time, especially if you have obligations, it's just a long time to go across the continent. And not only that, but in the summer, in June, I spent 4 weeks, or is it 5 weeks again, in Rome. And I did the same thing, except I did more play than work there, to be honest. And that again was within the plan. And I'm not saying this for anything other than if you have a routine and you create a plan and you work a plan, and you work with someone who's been there and done that and has results, then you're more than likely to experience more of what you want. Remember the vision that you've written out? You're more than likely to experience that. So a routine is very important. Don't dismiss it. Start getting familiar with it and liking the idea of it. That goes for exercise. If you want a relationship in your life, you got to do something about it. It goes for everything that you want. If you want a relationship with your family members, put it in your calendar to call them on a Friday night, and then until it gets into a routine. So that's what I mean by saying a routine. Whatever it is that you want, put it in your calendar and start getting into the mix of it. And what's on the next slide? Yes. So I just want to share with you about John, and this has to do with that whole routine and agreeing to do something that's going to give you freedom a little while. John again came to me, and we discovered very quickly that we had to revamp his whole strategy and come up with a new ideal client target marketing strategy. And it was stressful for him because he was thinking, well, I'm starting from scratch. But he was willing to push through. And I love him as an example because I want you to know that if you're looking for the next level or whatever it is that you want to achieve this year, you're not going to be able to do that with anything that brought you up until this point. You're going to have to develop new mindsets, new skill sets, new circle of friends, new places to interact, a new way of thinking, new books, things that you probably never would have done before. You're going to have to be open to that. And this is how we create the profitable plan that's both successful and sustainable. And the next. And the same for Roxanne. I get a lot of people who say, well, Julia, you don't have the family, you don't have the full-time job, you don't have the responsibilities. Well, I work with people who do. And the difference here is that they want to make the business a priority. And so what I do is I'm able to help them focus in on exactly what they need to do, so that if every day you just have half an hour that you can dedicate to your business, that's half an hour enough. As long as we have the plan from the beginning where we know what your revenue goal is, we know how many units you need to sell, and we work out something that's going to work. I once was speaking with someone and by her calculation, we came up with 300 units that had to be sold. Well, that's depressing. You might as well just quit and go get a full-time job. So no, we worked it out so that she could actually sell 30 of those. And if you divide 30 by 12 months, come on now, it just really simplifies it to all I have to do every day is work toward that 1 or 2 sales. How magical is that? And if you have that program that you're following where you even have 15 minutes or half an hour, even more maybe, as long as you stick to that program, you will achieve your results no matter what obligations you have there as well. And that's the good news. So I have real life people and I love sharing their stories. So I've given you a lot of information here, and this is what I love to do. I love to give homework. So anybody who's met me or worked with me knows that I love to give homework. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to pick on something that you're going to be working on over the next 48 hours. Now, I've given you quite a bit to work on. You're going to do your exercise on money beliefs, right? Like, where did you get the belief system that you're using for your thoughts? What about your beliefs about yourself? So that's homework in itself. And I want you to share with me on my Facebook group, Marketing That Works, what came up for you. And, doing this is cathartic, and it's also great because you start to build around community. Also, what are you going to start working on over the next 48 hours? We have the 6 key strategies that I presented to you that make for profitable plan that is both successful and sustainable. Well, what is it that you need to focus in on? Because there's something there that you don't have, right? So what is it? And so my invitation to you is to head over to that group so that you can share your findings or your challenges and get that life support that you need. We say within 48 hours because it's hot right now. I know life will come and take over the next few days. And by the weekend, you'll be like, what was she saying again? So that's why we're doing this now. I've been doing this for a while, and I know my people very well. I know how people think. It's something that I study 24/7. So what's next?
Well, what I will do is I will send out this link along with the rewatch for this to everyone who registered for the webinar. So I typed in let me just stop the share so everyone can see that I'm speaking. I typed in the group link in the chat box, and I will also put it into the email that will be sent out either later tonight or sometime tomorrow. Yes, Colette. Hi, Colette. We'll send, I can't send you the slides, but what I'll do is you'll have Julia's contact information, and then you can ask her anything. And because you're able to rewatch it, you can see everything that she went through. So you can reach out to her. I will send all her information. I have to say, Julia, it was a pleasure. You look like you really enjoy everything about what you do. You're just so happy. So that is really good. It's really, really good. It made it very easy to listen to everything that you had to say because you really look like you enjoy it. If anyone has any questions, now's your time. I know I have some stuff jotted down that I need to do, but I'm definitely going to do that male-female exercise because I think that's really cool.
And I'm so glad that you're already aware of the money and that you already have that worked on it.
My parents always talked money, though.
Oh, that is so rare. That is so good.
They always spoke to us about money. Like, I had a bank account I could write my name. Like, literally, I went back to Jamaica. This wasn't my last trip, probably trip before that. And we had to go to the bank and deal with some bank accounts that I've had since I was a child. And they pulled the signature card. And it was when I just learned to write my name. So it couldn't even be a good signature comparison. So yes, my parents were especially my mother. My mother is like all about, she always talks money. She'll let you know if you're doing something right or wrong. Even as an adult, she'd like, why are you spending on that? Because this is what that costs and this is what you could have done instead.
Wow, that is amazing. And that's what I really want for people is to have that money consciousness, not to run away from it, not to say, oh, money, yeah, that thing.
No, you have to be aware. Colette says that her mom was open with money because she ran a restaurant, right, Colette? So you had to know.
That's awesome. And you can see the results. So you can see where people have trouble with money, and you can see how, like, maybe they didn't get those foundations or they got the incorrect information. And it's not like school really dedicated time for people to learn about money, right? Like we did business education, and for the life of me, what was it? Balancing sheets. But,
Well, we had one in high school. I went to high school in Brooklyn, and we did have like a stock market class, stuff like that they really, but my high school, my principal, he inserted things in the curriculum that he thought we should learn. That was what the other schools would learn. So he was really good at that.
Some really good education, left, right, and center.
It's funny because it's not like I always went to, like I went to a high school that they considered was in the rough neighborhood. It was an all Black and Hispanic high school in Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn. But my principal did not play. He did not play. He said, people might think of us as the bottom of the barrel, but I'm getting you everything that's good. So sometimes it's not where you go to school, is what you get out of it.
Honestly, and those are the people who have my heart. I am so, so in love with people like that. Honestly, even that fire, which, I mean, for what you do, obviously, in presenting this kind of information to people, but for me, it's that. I'm always like, no, we're getting a success story out of you. You know, like, this is not just a job for me. This is like, I'm invested in your dream.
Success story out of everyone. So everyone needs to get their success story written. So start writing that vision.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you have to take it all the way there. Kamisha says, Julia, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned while making the transition from 9 to 5 to your own business?
Interesting. The biggest lesson that I learned. Well, this is going to be, this is what I learned. It took me maybe 5 years to process this. But the biggest lesson that I learned was not to be hard on yourself. So I was super hard on myself, and I didn't think I was. I thought that I was doing everything that I could and should so that I could succeed. But it never occurred to me to consider that I was starting from the very beginning on a new venture. So I was like a newborn babe. I was criticizing myself for not running marathons. Meanwhile, if you looked at things in that light, I was 5 months old, for crying out loud. 5 months old. But I was looking at myself like, what's wrong with you? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And it was all that misinformation, like, you know, family and friends, unless, and even the ones in business, because I do have family in business, they come to you with their expectations. They're like, oh, so you must be making money. Oh, so, and whether you acknowledge it or not, these things sit in. Like, you know, you're like, I don't want to say that I'm struggling. I don't want to say that I don't have this, or I don't know this, or that I'm not getting it. But business is all about taking your steps and tweaking as you go, and iteration, and just changing things and changing things. Things will happen that are out of your control. I love the story about Arlene Dickinson because their building flooded. They spent such a long time to raise the money to have this building, to house the employees, and then it flooded. It was all done. That had nothing to do with her. But things like those will happen. And so learning to not be hard on myself, to make friends with myself in the process, to love the process more than the results, has been the biggest lesson for me.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Doing it. Yes, I did get your email, Colette. I'm sorry, I am really backlogged, but I will answer you soon, I promise. Don't worry, your vendor spot is safe. This has been a pleasure. I really love doing these webinars because I might get your deck ahead of time, but I do not look through it until...
Lovely.
Because I want to learn at the same time as everyone else, right?
I do the same. Yeah.
Yeah, like I always have a notepad and I start writing down things as I go along. So I do enjoy these webinars because I love to learn. Mm-hmm. And as busy as I am with my 9 to 5 and with this business, these are the time periods where I know I'm locked and loaded and I can learn something for an hour. So yeah. I do appreciate that. I appreciate everyone for joining us. But Julia, tell us if you have anything coming up. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went into a little bit into the mindset stuff, and I have a full day event. It's in April 27th. It's a Saturday. It's here in downtown Toronto. And what I do is I focus heavy on the mindset, just helping you get over some of your underlying beliefs that are really getting in the way. And then we go heavy into the revenue goals. I help you face those hard things that make you squirm and feel uncomfortable and want to go drink. that we sit through it and I help you get through it so that at the end of the day, you walk out with your calendar that's filled with your marketing events. Because it's not enough to tell you go out and get 30 people. It's where you're going to get them. What are you going to say? How are you going to do it? So I'm Julia Cativo on social media, and I will be posting information about that event in the next, when is the date? 23rd. So in the next couple of days, it will be coming up. And it's April 27th. It's a Saturday. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Toronto, downtown Toronto. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place to meet people who want to learn and network and connect, and also a place to just really help you get into that space where you need to be so that you can fully focus.
Perfect. Make sure you send me some information about the event so that I can push it out to the network as well.
Awesome.
So this has been a spectacular night, and I thank you so much. It's a semi-warm Wednesday, and I have a to-do list, and some of it is homework from Julia, and questions that I have to ask myself. I wrote down a couple of those. Colette said this is a great webinar. You have lots of notes. That's excellent, Colette. Again, this will be available on if you're in our Facebook group, not the page, so Canadian Small Business Women, the member group page, you will be able to rewatch it, but I will also have it on our YouTube channel, Canadian Small Business Women. And yes, I'll send it out to everyone. So that's it. It's a wrap. Wednesday to-do is over, except for the homework that Julia gave you. Within the next 48 hours, you know what you have to do. I will send that link out to her page as well. Julia, thank you so, so much. This has been a pleasure, and you're a delight. I need to meet you in person.
Thank you. It was my pleasure being here. I love doing this, and looking forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you for being here.
Perfect. Please post the Canadian Business Group link as well. Let me do that right now. I can also send it in an email, but the group link is here. Just a second, I'm just pulling it up. If it will just go a little faster. Hello, no? Are you not gonna go? Oh, here it is. Excuse me, guys. Oh, okay, that was an epic fail. I didn't get it to work the way I wanted to. Facebook has taken its sweet old time to do what it wants to do, so it kind of died on me. But what I can do is I can try to put it in the email, but if you just search Canadian Small Business Women on Facebook, you will get two options. You'll either get the page that's Canadian Small Business Women, or you'll get you will get the group that's Canadian Small Business Women member group. It shouldn't be too hard to find, but you know, sometimes things happen. Actually, I have it now. There. So you can click on that link and everything is there. So thank you everyone for joining us. I look forward to seeing everyone throughout the year. Make sure you check out Julia on all social media platforms. And if you are looking for something from her and you don't know where to find her, pop us an email. I'll make sure that I connect the both of you. Julia, if there's anything I can ever do, please don't forget us. Just send me anything and I'll be sure to push it out to the group.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is such a good time.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.